Prima Biomed, we're an emerging biotechnology company. We specialize in what's called personalized biotherapeutics, and that means we're using biotechnology to develop products that are very much personalized to individual patients. So really our specialty is in dendritic cell therapy, and our lead product there is CVAC. Well, latest news is, as of today, we are now listed on the entry standard in the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. We've recently listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange in the US as of April, and we have recently commenced recruitment for our CANVAS trial, which is an 800-patient global clinical trial of CVAC in ovarian cancer. So that commenced recently in the United States, and we'll be starting in Australia and Europe throughout this summer. So the next steps are really a focus on enrolling our CANVAS study. We have the first few patients that have started the trial so far. We'll be starting up in about 20 to 25 countries globally throughout the rest of the year and recruiting 800 patients over the course of about the next 18 months. So that's the big focus. As well, we're expecting data release, some interim data to come out at the end of 2012 for our last trial, the CAN003 trial, as well as final results from that trial to come in the first half of 2013. We see this as an introduction to the European investor market, the German-speaking investor market more specifically. So we'll have an opportunity to meet and tell the story about what we're doing over the longer term. Of course, we have a lot of operations here in Germany, in Leipzig specifically, where we are supported by the Sächsische Aufbaubank, and we work together with the Fraunhofer Institute of Cell Therapy and Immunology in Leipzig. This is the site of one of our manufacturing centers for CVAC. We work with the Fraunhofer Institute of Cell Therapy and Immunology in Leipzig, and they will be manufacturing CVAC for the clinical trials in Europe. We also have other research and development activities, including some development of lab assays and some of our corporate work in Berlin as well. CVAC is intended to work by retraining the body's immune system to target and kill cancer cells. More specifically, we take patients' white blood cells. We make a product specifically for each patient based on those white blood cells. More specifically, the dendritic cells, which we retrain to be able to identify and target mucin-1 overexpressing cancer cells. So when those cells are re-injected back into the body, those mucin-1 containing dendritic cells can then stimulate the T cells, or the killer cells of the white blood system, to then identify and attack and kill cancer cells in the body. So we have two clinical trials currently ongoing. One is a 63-patient study that all of the patients will have finished their course of treatment as of August 2012, and we will be expecting some interim data at the end of 2012 and the final data towards the end of the first half of 2013. The second ongoing trial, which has just started, is a major global trial of about 800 ovarian cancer patients worldwide, and that trial has just started recently in the United States, and throughout the summer months we'll start recruiting patients in Australia as well as a number of European countries. So traditional chemotherapy and radiotherapy is a much more toxic type of therapy using sort of synthetic or allogeneic type of products, okay, that bring in a lot of toxicity, but that also kill or directly kill and shrink tumors. The idea of a cancer vaccine, or also called a cancer immunotherapy, is that we're using more natural processes to retrain the body's immune system and use the white blood cells of the immune system to identify and kill cancer cells within the natural immune system of the body. Ovarian cancer is often called the silent killer, and the reason is there are very few signs or symptoms until a very late stage. So most women are stage 3 or 4 by the time they're diagnosed, which really leads to a poor prognosis. And ovarian cancer turns out to often be a disease of just constant recurrence. Even if you can get a response and go into remission, the cancer frequently recurs within a relatively short amount of time, and the overall survival or the longer term prognosis for survival is quite poor. It's a serious medical need to help extend the survival prognosis for these patients. If we look at the major European countries in the United States, just for example, we're talking about 45 to 50,000 newly diagnosed ovarian cancer patients every year. And if we look at the number of those patients that go into remission, that's about 80% of those patients. So we're probably talking about 35 to 40,000 patients per year in the US and Europe. It doesn't just target ovarian cancer, and there are potential applications in other types of cancers that overexpress mucin 1 as well. We see it as a good investment because we are still in the development stage. So as we get through clinical development and more data comes about and we get closer to the potential market, there would be some significant upside as the data keeps coming in over the next couple of years. I started in my career in contract research organizations, which are basically companies dedicated to doing pharmaceutical or drug company studies on contracts. I've done hundreds of clinical trials in cancer and other diseases over the past 12 years.